Who of you has sons? Who of you has brothers? Who of you has a husband? What are we doing to our sons? What are we doing to our brothers? And what are we doing to our boys? Now, you're probably wondering what I'm referring to. And I'm referring to the mass epidemic that seems to affect most, if not all, of our boys. And that is computer programs, the games they play. Why is it that our boys, our sons, our brothers are watching violent games, are playing violent games, are shooting one another, killing one another, going to war with one another? Why is it that they are being almost programmed to play these games, being introduced to them at an early age? And why is it that corporations are only making violent games? There are games out there. I call them games. They're not really games. They're not games at all. Games are supposed to be fun. Games are supposed to be a challenge. But games are not meant to be based on killing tactics, destruction. And this is what really concerns me. It has been concerning me for many, many years, as I have a son. And now I'm speaking out. It's not my usual topic of conversation, as you know. Nevertheless, it needs addressing. And I'm not afraid of addressing alternative subjects, taboo subjects, or subjects that maybe other people are concerned about but don't choose to speak out at. These corporations, these people who make the games, have a choice. They can make something fun, they can make something adventurous, they can make something interesting, they can make something educational. For instance, there's a game called The Room, and it's fabulous. It's fascinating. It's based on problem-solving skills and tactics, and it's really good. It's clever, it's smart, and it requires going into a room and getting clues. And there's a physical room as well. Why aren't more of these games being made? Because these games are fun, they're challenging, all the family can play them, and they train your mental muscles for problem solving. So therefore, when you encounter problems or challenges in the workplace, at home, or wherever in society, you're building your resilience. So it creates clever engineers, amazing people who think outside the box, inventors, creators, artists. So back to what we were talking about. These violent games our boys are playing, our sons are playing, our brothers are playing. It's not just about killing other people with very, very realistic graphics. Blood spurting everywhere, fighting against aliens, fighting against one another, using guns, hearing gun noises, machine guns, knives, horrible, horrible things. I can't even bear to watch these games. And my son isn't 18, and yet he tells me, he is just a teenager, and he tells me that all of his friends play these violent 18 games. Now, obviously there's not 100% truth there, I'm sure. And yet I do know that many parents, good people, allow their sons to play these games. And I really question their judgment on this. And I invite them to reconsider. And I'm challenging them. I'm challenging you if you're one of those parents. What are you teaching your child? What are you teaching your son? What are you preparing your son for? Do you want your son to join the army? Do you want your son to fight? Do you want your son to be disrespectful to other people, including himself? Do you want your son not to value life? Because these are the big issues, and these are the big subjects. It's not just a case of these boys going up to their rooms and playing a game. They're very addictive. They're highly addictive. And these boys play their games for hours and hours at a time. They even play it online with their friends, so they don't even have to be physically with another person. So you have an isolation issue and a communication issue, a verbal communication, eye contact issue. These boys are not used to being face to face with other children, communicating through words and emotions with other children. You have one boy in his home, in his room, shut off on his game. You have another boy in his house, in his room, shut off, playing the game, and they're playing together. And they call it friendship. So please, please, beautiful people, good parents, conscientious, hard-working people who love their children. I know it's you. I know you love your children and want to do your best. I know how hard you're working, and sometimes you just need a bit of respite for yourself. I get all of that. I'm one of those parents. I work hard. I have responsibilities. I also need downtime. But there's got to be another way. What did you do when you were a child? Well, I know what I did. I was out all the time, at my friend's house, playing in the streets, playing in the park, up a tree, on a bike, roller skating, ice skating, swimming, playing in the garden, making a den, sitting on a dirty, mouldy, wet piece of old carpet because it was inside our den. Or we play card games, or we play Monopoly, or we play snooker. We go to somebody's house and play one of these games. Or we go to dance class, piano lessons, guitar lessons, tennis. We would do all of these things. And this generation of children, our children, are being exposed to these computer games and screens all the time. The children are being addicted. They're getting completely attached to their phones. And it's now official, guys. I'm really sorry to share this with you, but it is completely official that when you take a child's phone away from them, they are suffering from anxiety. Anxiety. Detachment. This isn't detachment from their mother or their father. This is detachment from their phones. Now fast forward 10 years, fast forward 20 years, and none of us really know what the fallout is going to be like, how our children will be affected mentally, socially, emotionally, psychologically, physically. You see, if our children aren't out there with their hobbies and their sports and rushing around doing things, and they're inside and they're sedentary, they're not going to be healthy children. They're not going to want to be outside. It's not going to seem normal for them to hop on the bus and go to the gym, hop on the bus, go to the swimming pool, hop on their bike, go see their friends. Because they're staying inside, or they're playing at a friend's house, or they're having lifts here and there. They're stuck on their phones, they're playing computer games. They're being exposed to really, really violent fighting. And your mind, and this is a shocker, Your mind, and this is a fact, please research it if you don't believe me. Your mind cannot differentiate between a memory of an actual event and a memory of a film you've watched, a game you've played, or a book you've read. It's not so severe with books, but visually, a film particularly, and a game, computer game. And this is because it is using all the senses. So when you watch a film or when you play a game, you can see it, you can hear it, you can feel it. So the emotions that you are feeling, say for example your child is playing, hi Annie, say for example your child is playing a violent game. Your child will feel anxious to protect itself and also to attack the other person. So an aggressive stance is being developed here. Your child is experiencing the noise and the vibrations and the sounds and the sight of killing machines, of tools, of weapons, of guns, of knives, of horrendous things, of hand grenades, of tanks. So your child is experiencing exactly what it's like being in a real war. Imagine what the trauma in that child, the residue of that trauma, is going to be like in the body. Day after day, week after week, month after month, year after the year. I predict that we are going to have a generation of children with post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms showing up from playing these games. Aggressive behaviour, violent behaviour, disrespect for life, disregard of other people is all going to be showing up in their adulthood, and it really concerns me. It really worries me. What are we planning for our boys? What are we planning for our sons? This has got to stop. And I know it won't happen overnight, but even if you just think about the implications on your own son, on their siblings, on their friends, on society, on their community, and for their future life. It's a massive concern. We've all got to educate our children, not ban them from things because that will make them worse, and not, punish them by saying they can't do this or they can't do that, and not signing them all up for ballet lessons either. However, we've got to find another way of engaging our children in the family, with their friends, in the community, in a way that teaches them to be respectful, firstly towards themselves and then to other people, whoever they might be, wherever they are. Otherwise, we are going to have a generation of prepared, ready to go army boys. And we don't want that. Because the only thing that can dissolve hate, the only thing that can dissolve war, and the only thing that can dissolve pain is love. Now, I also have a daughter, and we do not have games like this, but there are games like this about. Violent and very, very grown-up sexual content and real disrespect to women, almost abuse of women. Now, if our sons are watching these things, playing these games, now they won't be playing them here, but what happens when my son goes to somebody else's house and I can't monitor what they're watching, what they're playing? What is this teaching our boys about how to handle themselves with one another, how to behave in front of girls and women, and how to treat their sisters, their friends, their partners, their mothers, their wives. Because if it doesn't support respect, protection, caring, love, acceptance, then it's not serving us. It's not serving us in society at large. And it will just make for a more convoluted, a more detached society, where we don't pull together and we fall apart, divided. We'll be divided, and that really does concern me. Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you for sharing that, Annie. Annie was just saying that she educates her grandson, who's only 7 years old, about the health implications of overusing screens, and I think it's really important. On the one hand, technology is amazing and it's incredible, and we can research anything and everything. You know, you can Google absolutely anything and find out about it that might have taken you years trawling through libraries, physical libraries that we did when we were kids. And yet, there is a downside. There is this reliance on them, which does concern me, because people can't cope when their phone breaks or gets lost. They can't cope when their computer doesn't work. You know, pick up the phone and speak with somebody. Arrange to meet them face to face and have a proper conversation. Engage in them. Look into the eyes of another human being. It's the most beautiful thing because it's a connection, a deep connection. And it sends positive endorphins into your brain. Connecting with another human being. Touching somebody on the arm. Holding somebody's hand. Those things are really important and part of growing up. Learning how to handle yourself. Learning how to negotiate. Learning how to have a heated discussion or debate. And these skills are being lost. And children are being impatient. And fast forward 10 or 20 years, what is that going to create? It's not good news. And now we have a chance to make a difference. Whether it's our children, whether it's our grandchildren, or whether it's having children to play in our house. In little ways, positive ways, we can influence them. And we can help them, and we can nurture them, and we can guide them. And we can manoeuvre them. And encourage them to, guys, why don't you make a pizza for lunch? Hey, let's get some dough on. Why don't we make some fresh pasta? That's great fun. Why don't you go outside on the trampoline when they're small? Why don't you go outside and collect some conkers, or mind you, the conkers are pretty much gone now. Why don't you go outside and collect some autumn leaves, and we can make a fantastic picture. You can take it home to your mom. You can take it, you know, home for your brother or sister or grandpa or granny. Take them for a walk underneath the stars. Show them the full moon and how beautiful it is. There are so many ways. Getting out into nature, or doing stuff, making stuff, creating stuff. Kids, you hungry? Should we make some flapjacks? How about making some cookies? Why don't we make a pasta? Why don't we make a shepherd's pie? Why don't we make a fish pie? Why don't we make whatever it is? An omelette, some pancakes. Pancakes, my kids love pancakes. They can make it themselves, it's really easy. Or if they're too tiny, you make them the pancakes, put it on the table. A whole bunch of blueberries, brain food. A whole bunch of strawberries, antioxidants. Some honey, which is really good for you anyway. All kinds of bits and bobs you can put in them. You can do savoury ones. Grated cheese and all kinds of things that are delicious. There are lots of ways we can entertain our children. You want to go play with your friend? Yeah, go cycle over. See if they're in. Or can I phone them? Well, why don't you just pop over and cycle over, or walk over to their house and see if they want to come round and play or do something or hang out. We need to be more creative. And I think that one of the things that's happened here And this isn't to blame any adult or grown-up, because I've always worked and had a real challenge with juggling bringing up my children at the same time, then feeling guilty not spending enough time with them when they were tiny. We all have our challenges. We're all tired at the end of a long, busy week or hectic schedule. And therefore we need downtime. We need time for ourselves. We need to recharge our batteries. Because it's getting the kids, getting up, getting the kids up, getting the kids out, getting to work, doing the work, getting home, getting the kids home, making tea, doing the washing up, doing the washing, tidy up, whatever, homework, bedtime. It's exhausting. I get it. Well, the children can help. And it depends on what they're good at. Did they want to tidy their rooms? Did they want to put the washing in the washing machine? Did they want to hang it on the line? Did they want to bring it in, fold it up, put it away? Do the dishwasher, make a meal, prepare the meal, tidy up. Little things to prepare them for life. Yes, at first it's challenging because they make a mess and they take ages and it's easier to do it ourselves. At the same time, when you do things for your children, everything for them, you're making a rod for your own back, and also you're making a rod for the back of their future partner. And they won't thank you for that. How will your child cope when they leave home, go to college, go to university, live on their own? If you have not prepared them, if you have not guided them and nurtured them and empowered them to stand on their own 2 feet, how will they know how to treat themselves and their friends and their partners and society at large if we do not gently guide them and maneuver them in different ways that we know are the right ways? Of course, it's good that they challenge us. It's great that they question why they're being told this, why they're being asked to do that, because it shows they're intelligent. And they also might challenge us. Our children might challenge us on things that we had habitually taken on because our parents took it on and our grandparents took it on, and it might waken us up to question why we're doing something or saying something. And when we treat our children not as our own belongings, but as a gift, and when we see ourselves as parents, as temporary guardians for our children, and teachers and guides for our children, then we tend to be much more open. We're all still learning, right? But we tend to be more open. Listen to them more. Allow them a bit more space, independence. And it's great fun watching them grow up. This week, I was needing some boxes to box some stuff up. And I said to my son, there's a load of boxes, flat pack boxes. Could you make them up for me? And you might have seen the post. I posted up a picture on Facebook recently, this week, earlier. And he said, yeah, okay, Mum. I said, well, you can do it down here and we can watch Blue Planet and we can watch it together because it's fantastic with David Attenborough and it's amazing. And he said, no, I'll do it upstairs. I went, oh, okay. So I thought, I'm not going to argue with him. If he's offered to do something for me and he's going to do it upstairs, that's fine. Anyway, half an hour later, I went upstairs. How are you getting on? Got to his bedroom door. And I couldn't even see his bedroom door because he had literally created all these boxes. They were small boxes, kind of that big. And made them into a wall. And attached them to one another with masking tape and then attached them to the door frame. So he could hear me, but he couldn't see me. And I said, are you in there? And he said, yes. I said, oh, okay. He opened the door from his side because it opened inwards. I couldn't see him. And I went, question? He said, yeah. I said, great job on the boxes. He said, oh, thanks, Mum. How are you going to get out? He went, okay, I don't know. I said, okay. And I left him. I wasn't cross with him because he'd been creative. He'd done something other than screen time. And so I was quite happy that, yeah, he'd made a bit of a mess, but it didn't matter. He'd had fun. He created something himself. And then he got a challenge that he had to overcome. How did he get out? So we had to figure out how to do that without dismantling all his massive wall of boxes. And so we chatted about it and laughed about it, and it was really good fun. I'm not suggesting you get a whole load of flat pack boxes and do that, but there are lots of different things. And my son's 14, and that really, tickled him. He enjoyed that. So then, be very mindful about what your children are watching. Make sure that at bedtime they are handing in all of their screens. If their bedtime is 9:30, get their screens off them at 8:30, because they need time for their minds to calm, away from screen stimulation. They need time to process the day, to get ready for sleep. And this is really important. It's important for us too. It's not great to have a television in your bedroom. Not a good idea at all. It's not great to have your iPhone in your bedroom, or your iPad in your bedroom, or your laptop in your bedroom. You can do some work in the daytime if you wanted to relax, but not at night. It's much better for your eyes to calm down with the natural light or the dimmed light. And it's much better not to have the screens at least 2 hours before you go to bed. So I wonder how many of you are actually doing that, or how many of you watch the TV until you literally go to sleep. Are you watching TV in the bedroom and then switch off the light and go to sleep? Are you going to sleep with the television on even? Now, there isn't any judgment here. It's simply my job is to poke you, to prod you, to wake you up, to invite you to look at a different perspective, a different angle, a different view of things, to question what you've been told always, to challenge the habits, the belief systems, the way you've been brought up by your teacher, by your parents, by society, by the workplace, and to change anything that no longer serves you. This is my role. And so I'm inviting you to look at an alternative way. If something's not working, if it's not working for you, if it's not working for your family, if it's not conducive to a happy community and happy society, then question it, challenge it. Hi, Catherine. So there are so many different ways to look at the same thing. And when you choose your perspective to be one way, you'll see it in a certain way. When you change that perspective and look at something in a different way, you can be looking at the same thing in a different way, and what you then look at reflects differently back to you. It's the same thing as 10,000 people, 50,000 people going to a concert. Each one of those people is going to the same concert, seeing the same band, seeing the same singer, experiencing the same sounds, looking at the same lights. And yet, each one of those people there has different filters, different belief systems, different perspectives, different emotions, different mindsets. And they're all layers of the filters. So when the information is received, whether it's visual, audible, is completely different. So everybody goes away with a different experience. Some might be similar, but some might be different, completely different. And if your perspective is not serving you in the way you look at the same thing, you can actually make it easier for yourself rather than get rid of the thing. For instance, if you've got a neighbour, I'm very blessed, I have brilliant neighbours. If you have a neighbour who causes you problems, who doesn't get on well with you, the more agitated you become, the worse it becomes. This is all about the law of attraction. I'm going off piste a bit, but there's a reason. When you have a real challenge, whether it's a person or whether it's a situation, look beneath what's really going on to see the lesson. What is being reflected back to you? What is it that perhaps you'd been avoiding ignoring or needing to learn. Because when you change your perspective, then what you're looking at, a situation or a person, changes. So back to our sons and back to our boys. When you treat them with respect, they behave respectfully. When you give them space, independence, opportunities, they will become empowered. When you trust them, they become trustworthy. You see, it's not the other way around. And the other way around is how we've been bringing up our children. If you do this, I'll give you that. No. The big challenge is, I'll give you this because I trust you. I give you this because I believe in you. I'll allow you to do that because I know you'll make the right decisions for yourself. To empower yourself, to empower your children, is one of the most beautiful gifts that you can give them. And as a parent, it's challenging. Baby steps. Empower them, trust them, treat them in a way that you, as if they're behaving in a way that you already want to see in them. Hello, Susan, my darling. Oh, I love you too. So when you treat people in a way that you believe they are underneath it all, their essence, if you like, see what's underneath. The angry boy, the angry girl, who's swearing and shouting and ranting and raving and throwing things and having a temper tantrum, who's frustrated. Don't condone it, of course. At the same time, see what lies underneath. See what's at the core of it. Is it hormonal? Are they tired? Are they dehydrated? Are they hungry? Is there something upsetting them? Do they feel small? There'll be something underneath that. Anyway, yes, cry for attention. Quite possibly all of these things. And it's all about being more mindful about what's really going on. Using your mind, your ears, before your mouth, listening to the words, but also getting a sense of what's really going on. And you're very intuitive. You know, you were made that way. Your gut feelings, your heart, listen to what they're telling you. You've got 3 intelligence systems: head, stomach, heart. Use them. Listen to them. Be still for a moment and just contemplate what's really going on with a situation, with a child, with yourself perhaps. And do whatever you feel is right in your heart for your sons, for your boys. Because by doing so, you are protecting them. These violent games are not okay. They're programming our children. It's not okay. They are beautiful, innocent, amazing, very malleable, pliable children. And it's our job as parents to guide them. Give them alternatives. Do other fun things with them. Let them play a little bit, but encourage them to do other things. How about a jigsaw? I love jigsaws. They're extremely therapeutic. They're very calming. They're good at problem solving and allowing you to be present in the moment. It's an ideal way to clear your mind. Be creative. I'm sure you can think of loads of ways to entertain your boys, to entertain your sons, so that when they grow up, they become outstanding adults. Thank you for joining. Lovely to see you all. And hopefully you've picked up a few things that will help. And please feel free to share this video. Oh, thank you for all my kisses and loves. Thank you, thank you. Hi, Susan, you just joined us. Please share this video with all of the parents you know who have sons, who have boys, and even the ones who have girls, because girls at some stage are going to have boyfriends. So we need to educate them. We need to educate each other, hold each other accountable. You're very welcome, Annie. Spread the word. Send love out there. Bless yourself and bless everybody out there. Send blessings, send love. It's much more powerful than hate, much more powerful than war. And it's what makes us human. Love you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful rest of the week and beautiful weekend. And I look forward to seeing you same time next week. Bye for now.